Nestled on the outskirts of a sleepy town in Pennsylvania, Alderwood Manor stood as a relic of a bygone era, its Gothic architecture cloaked in ivy and mystery. Built in 1898 by the affluent Montgomery family, the estate was once a vibrant hub of social gatherings, laughter, and creativity. But as the years passed, whispers of tragedy and despair began to stain its walls, transforming the manor into a subject of local folklore. In the spring of 2021, Clara Thompson, a passionate historian and preservationist, stumbled upon the manor while researching haunted locations for her blog. Intrigued by its storied past, she decided to delve deeper. After gaining permission from the current owners, she began her exploration, armed with a notebook, a flashlight, and an insatiable curiosity. As Clara stepped inside, she was greeted by a palpable sense of history. The air was thick with dust, and the faint scent of aged wood permeated every corner. The grand foyer, adorned with tarnished chandeliers and faded portraits, felt like a portal to another time. Yet, an unsettling energy crackled beneath the surface. Her first night in the manor was marked by an eerie stillness, broken only by the creaking of the old house settling. As she wandered through the dimly lit hallways, she stumbled upon a forgotten nursery, its walls painted a soft blue, now dulled by years of neglect. In the center stood an old rocking horse, untouched by time, yet covered in a thin layer of dust. Clara couldn't shake the feeling that she was not alone. The following day, Clara began her research, uncovering the tragic fate of the Montgomery family. It was said that the youngest daughter, Margaret, had vanished one stormy night in 1910, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. The family had searched for her tirelessly, but she was never found. After her disappearance, the laughter that once filled the halls faded, leaving behind a lingering sadness. As Clara continued her investigation, she felt an unexplainable pull toward the nursery. It was there, late one night, that she first heard the whispers. Soft, lilting voices echoed through the air, calling her name. Clara, Clara. The sound was gentle yet haunting, like a distant lullaby. Heart racing, she turned off her flashlight, allowing the darkness to envelop her. In the stillness, a figure appeared at the edge of her vision. A small child in a white dress, her face obscured by shadows. "Help me?" the figure whispered, the words barely a breath. Clara felt a wave of compassion wash over her, but fear gripped her heart. "Who are you?" she managed to ask. "I'm lost," the voice replied, tinged with sorrow. "They won't let me go." Determined to uncover the truth, Clara sought out local historians and longtime residents, piecing together fragments of the Montgomery family's story. Many claimed to have seen Margaret's spirit wandering the gardens, her eyes filled with longing and despair. With each new detail, Clara felt a growing responsibility to help the lost soul find peace. One stormy evening, mirroring the night of Margaret's disappearance, Clara gathered her courage and returned to the nursery. Armed with candles and a sense of purpose, she initiated a seance, hoping to reach out to the spirit. As the flickering flames illuminated the room, shadows danced along the walls, and the air grew thick with tension. "Margaret," Clara called softly, her voice steady. "I'm here to help you. You don't have to be alone anymore." The room fell silent, the shadows converging around her. Then, as if summoned by her words, the figure materialized once more, the child's face now visible, hauntingly beautiful, yet filled with sorrow. "You can see me?" Margaret asked, her voice trembling. "Yes," Clara replied, tears welling in her eyes. "I want to help you find peace." With a flicker of hope, Margaret gestured towards a small trunk in the corner of the nursery. Clara approached it, her heart pounding. Inside, she found a collection of letters and drawings, remnants of a life once filled with dreams and laughter. "These are my secrets," Margaret whispered. "They kept me here." As Clara read through the letters, she realized they contained messages of love and longing, written by Margaret to her family. It was clear that the child's spirit had been tethered to the manor by her unfulfilled desires and the heartache of her disappearance. Understanding the urgency, Clara spoke gently. "Margaret, it's time to let go. Your family loved you, and they still do. You deserve to be free." With those words, the atmosphere shifted. A warm light enveloped the room, and Clara felt a rush of energy as the whispers transformed into a gentle song. Margaret smiled, her sorrow melting away, and for the first time, Clara saw hope in her eyes. The shadows receded, and in a final moment of clarity, Margaret whispered, "Thank you." Then, with a soft glow, she vanished, leaving behind an overwhelming sense of peace. In the days that followed, Clara continued her work at Alderwood Manor, documenting her experiences and the profound impact of her encounter. As she restored the house, she felt lighter, as though the very essence of the manor had shifted. The whispers had ceased, replaced by an air of tranquility. Alderwood Manor remained a testament to the power of love and remembrance, a place where shadows once lingered but were finally set free. Clara knew that Margaret's spirit would forever be a part of the house, but now it was a spirit at peace, watching over the home she had once lost. As Clara continued her work at Alderwood Manor, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The oppressive weight that had once clung to the hallways was replaced by a gentle lightness. But the echoes of Margaret's story were not entirely silenced. Clara felt an urgent need to honor the child's memory. Determined to uncover the full story of the Montgomery family, Clara spent hours in the local archives, poring over old newspapers and family records. She learned that the Montgomerys had once been prominent figures in the town, involved in various philanthropic efforts and community events. However, after Margaret's disappearance, the family's fortune dwindled, and the manor fell into disrepair. The remaining family members withdrew from public life, shrouded in grief and mystery. One evening, Clara stumbled upon a mention of a family heirloom, a locket that Margaret had cherished. It was said to contain a picture of her parents, and it had vanished along with her. Clara's heart raced. Could this locket be the key to fully freeing Margaret's spirit? Her quest took her to the town's historical society, where she met an elderly woman named Agnes, a former neighbor of the Montgomerys. Agnes recounted tales of the family with a mixture of nostalgia and sadness. "Margaret was a bright child," she said, her eyes clouded with memory. "She loved exploring the gardens, especially the willow tree. That's where she'd often play, dreaming of adventures." Intrigued, Clara decided to visit the gardens the next day, hoping to find clues about the locket or any other remnants of Margaret's past. As she wandered among the overgrown hedges and wildflowers, she felt an inexplicable pull toward the old willow tree. Its gnarled branches swayed gently, as if beckoning her closer. Clara knelt at the base of the tree, brushing aside leaves and debris. Just as she was about to give up, her fingers grazed something cold and metallic. Heart racing, she unearthed a small, tarnished locket half buried in the soil. It was intricately designed, with delicate engravings that matched descriptions Agnes had given her. With newfound determination, Clara returned to the manor, holding the locket tightly. As she entered the nursery, she felt the air vibrate with energy. "Margaret," she whispered, placing the locket on the dusty floor, "I found this for you." In that moment, the whispers returned, clearer than before. "You came back." Margaret's voice was a blend of hope and hesitation. "I want you to have it," Clara said, feeling the weight of the moment. "It's a piece of your story." As Clara spoke, the locket began to shimmer, illuminating the room with a warm glow. The walls seemed to breathe with anticipation, and the shadows deepened, swirling around her like a protective embrace. The gentle voice continued, "Can you help me remember?" Clara nodded, understanding the importance of closure. "Tell me your story, Margaret. I'm here to listen." Margaret's spirit materialized, the child's figure radiating warmth and innocence. "I remember, I was playing by the willow when it stormed. I wanted to show Mama the flowers I found, but I got lost in the woods. The rain came, and I couldn't find my way home. I was so scared." Tears welled in Clara's eyes as she listened, feeling the weight of the child's fear and longing. "You're safe now, Margaret. You're not lost anymore." With a deep breath, Margaret continued, her voice trembling. "They thought I was gone forever. They never found me. A shadow flickered across her face. They forgot me. Clara's heart ached for the lost child. They didn't forget you. They loved you. You were their light. We'll make sure everyone remembers you. As Clara spoke, the locket pulsed with energy, and the air shimmered around them. The walls of the nursery seemed to fade, revealing glimpses of the past. A sunlit garden, laughter echoing, the Montgomerys together, united in joy. Clara witnessed the bond that had once been, and in that moment, she understood the depth of Margaret's sorrow. "Will you help me find them?" Margaret asked, her eyes wide with hope. "Of course," Clara promised, feeling the weight of the child's unfulfilled dreams. "We'll honor your memory. We'll tell your story." As Clara began to piece together Margaret's legacy, she decided to organize a community gathering at the manor, inviting townsfolk to share their memories of the Montgomery family. She believed that bringing people together would weave a tapestry of remembrance, and perhaps allow Margaret to find her place within it. In the weeks leading up to the gathering, Clara felt a shift in the manor. The whispers became a soothing melody, guiding her as she worked to restore the once vibrant space. She unearthed old photographs, letters, and stories that had been tucked away in forgotten corners. Each discovery felt like a step toward healing, not just for Margaret, but for the manor itself. On the evening of the gathering, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and a hint of unease. Clara had transformed the nursery into a warm, inviting space, adorned with flowers and candles. As neighbors filled the room, Clara felt the presence of Margaret beside her, a gentle encouragement in her heart. People began to share their memories, of summer picnics on the lawn, of the kindness of the Montgomerys, and of the laughter that once echoed in the halls. With each story, Clara could feel the energy shifting, a warmth wrapping around her as if Margaret was finally being welcomed home. But as the night deepened, Clara sensed a shift in the air, a change that brought with it a flicker of apprehension. The lights dimmed, and a chill brushed against her skin. Whispers fluttered around the room, more frantic now. "Clara, Clara!" Margaret's spirit appeared, looking troubled. "They're here. They won't let me go." Clara's heart raced as the whispers grew louder, morphing into a haunting chorus. It was as if the very walls of Alderwood Manor were crying out, caught between past sorrows and present hopes. "Stay with me," Clara urged, gripping the locket tightly. "We're remembering you. You're not alone." But Margaret's expression shifted, her eyes wide with fear. "No, Clara, you don't understand. They're angry." Just then, the candles flickered violently, casting erratic shadows that danced along the walls. Clara felt an overwhelming force pulling at her, as if the house itself was awakening to a long-buried tension. The gathering, once a celebration of life and memory, now hung heavy with unspoken grievances. As the whispers escalated into a cacophony, Clara realized that the spirits of the Montgomery family were not the only ones bound to Alderwood Manor. There were others, lost souls trapped by sorrow and resentment, their stories intertwined with Margaret's in a web of pain. Determined not to let fear take hold, Clara raised her voice above the chaos. "We're here to remember. We honor you. You're not forgotten." In that moment, the air crackled with energy, and the shadows began to shift, revealing flickers of past lives intertwined with the present. Clara could see the faces of the Montgomerys, haunted, yet yearning for connection. They were lost just as Margaret had been. With every ounce of courage, Clara called out, "You deserve peace. We want to help you." The room fell silent, the shadows holding their breath. Clara took a step forward, clutching the locket tightly, ready to face whatever awaited her. "Let us remember together," she said, her voice steady. "Let's bring your stories to light." And as she spoke those words, the atmosphere began to change once more. The whispers softened into a harmonious tune, intertwining with the memories shared by the townsfolk. For the first time, Clara felt hope blooming amidst the shadows, and she knew the journey to healing was only just beginning. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story. As Clara stood before the gathering, the atmosphere shifted once more. The shadows that had danced menacingly around the room began to coalesce into more defined shapes, flickering images of the Montgomery family and others lost to time. Clara felt the energy pulsating with each heartbeat, a collective yearning for resolution filling the air. "Let's bring their stories to life," she urged, her voice rising above the whispers. "We honor you, and we remember." As if in response, the locket in Clara's hand began to glow softly, illuminating the nursery with a warm light. The townsfolk, sensing the shift, fell silent, their eyes drawn to the radiant locket. It was as if they, too, could feel the spirit's longing for acknowledgement, their desire to break free from the chains of forgotten history. One by one, people began to share their own memories of the Montgomery family, recounting tales of kindness and joy. Clara encouraged them, weaving their stories together, and slowly the atmosphere transformed from one of fear to a celebration of life and love. Each story served as a thread, knitting together a tapestry of remembrance that began to envelop the room. Yet as the last of the light faded from the windows, the air grew thick with tension once more. Clara noticed a flicker of movement near the doorway. An unsettling shadow loomed, darker and more formidable than the others. Felt as if it were watching, waiting. "Who are you?" Clara asked, her voice trembling. The shadow shifted, revealing a figure with hollow eyes that seemed to absorb the light around it. A wave of cold washed over her, chilling her to the bone. "I am what remains," the shadow whispered, its voice a low rumble. "I am the grief that binds them." The room fell into a hush, the laughter and warmth snuffed out like a candle's flame. The townsfolk shifted uneasily, their earlier resolve waning in the face of this dark presence. Clara felt the weight of fear grip her heart, but she refused to back down. "You can't hold them anymore," she said, summoning every ounce of courage. "They deserve to be remembered and set free." The shadow surged forward, the air crackling with malevolence. "They are bound by sorrow. Your love cannot save them." In that moment, Clara understood. This entity was the manifestation of the unresolved grief that had haunted Alderwood Manor for generations. It fed on the pain and despair, perpetuating the cycle of sorrow that trapped the spirits within its walls. "I will not let you win," Clara shouted, her voice breaking through the tension. "They are more than their pain. They are love, laughter, and memories." With each declaration, the locket in her hand glowed brighter, casting rays of light that pushed back against the encroaching darkness. The townsfolk, feeling Clara's determination, began to join her, their voices rising in a chorus of affirmation. "We remember you. You are not forgotten." The shadow recoiled, but it wasn't enough. Clara felt its power threatening to pull her under, to drown her in despair. In that moment, she remembered the letters she had found in the trunk, the words of love and hope that Margaret had written. "Together, we can break this cycle," Clara shouted, drawing upon the strength of the community gathered around her. "Let your love shine through your grief." The townsfolk held hands, forming a circle around Clara, their collective energy merging into a powerful force. Memories poured forth, images of laughter at summer picnics, children playing in the gardens, the warmth of family gatherings. Each memory illuminated the darkness, creating a shield against the despair that threatened to consume them. The shadow writhed, shrieking in frustration as Clara raised the locket high above her head. "You are not the end of their story." In a burst of light, the locket transformed into a radiant beacon, illuminating the nursery in a brilliant glow. The air filled with the sound of laughter and the sweet notes of a child's song, drowning out the shadow's wails. And then, Clara felt it, the energy of the spirits around her, including Margaret, coalescing into a brilliant light. "Thank you." Margaret's voice rang clear, filled with joy and relief. "Thank you for remembering us." The shadow twisted and shrank, its form dissolving in the face of such love and resolve. "No!" it hissed, but it was too late. With a final, anguished cry, the dark entity disintegrated, leaving behind a lingering sense of peace. As the light began to fade, Clara felt a warm presence beside her. Margaret stood there, her face radiant, no longer a figure of sorrow but a child at play. "You did it," she said, her voice a melody. "You freed us." The room erupted in gasps of awe as the spirits of the Montgomery family appeared, their features softened with gratitude. Clara could see them clearly now, bathed in light, finally released from the burdens of their past. In that moment, Clara understood the power of remembrance, the way love could transcend even the darkest shadows. The spirits gathered, holding hands, their eyes filled with warmth and appreciation as they began to fade, leaving behind a lingering glow. As the last remnants of their presence dissolved into the air, Clara felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The gathering, once a confrontation of fears, had transformed into a celebration of life and connection. With tears of joy streaming down her face, Clara turned to the townsfolk, who were still reeling from the experience. "Thank you all for sharing your memories. You helped set them free." The crowd erupted in applause, the warmth of the moment enveloping them all. Clara knew that Alderwood Manor would forever hold the spirits of the Montgomery family, but now, it would also be a place of healing and joy. In the weeks that followed, the manor became a beacon of community, a space where stories were shared, memories cherished, and new traditions began. Clara continued her work, ensuring that the history of Alderwood Manor would never be forgotten again. And sometimes, on quiet evenings when the sun dipped below the horizon, she would stand by the willow tree, feeling the gentle breeze and the soft whispers of the past, knowing that love, once buried, had been revived, weaving a new legacy into the fabric of the manor. But deep within the heart of Alderwood Manor, an unfinished story lingered, and Clara could feel that her journey was far from over. New mysteries awaited, and with every discovery, the echoes of the past would continue to call her back to where it all began. As the weeks passed, Clara's connection to Alderwood Manor deepened. The restoration had become more than just a project. It was a calling. With each brush of paint and each piece of furniture lovingly restored, Clara felt the house come alive with stories waiting to be told. The townsfolk visited regularly, sharing laughter, stories, and memories, creating a new sense of community within the walls that had once been haunted by sorrow. Yet, beneath this newfound vibrancy, Clara sensed an undercurrent of mystery that still surrounded the manor. Though Margaret and the Montgomery family had found peace, whispers of other spirits lingered in the corners of her mind. The old diaries she had found in the attic contained hints of more secrets, more stories that needed to be uncovered. One rainy afternoon, while sorting through the remnants of the past in the dusty attic, Clara stumbled upon an ornate, locked box buried beneath a pile of old clothes. It was intricately carved, adorned with symbols she didn't recognize. Her heart raced as she tried to pry it open, but the lock resisted. It felt like a challenge, a barrier to the secrets that lay within. Determined, Clara brought the box downstairs and showed it to Agnes, the elderly neighbor who had shared stories of the Montgomery family. Agnes's eyes widened as she recognized the box. That belonged to Eleanor Montgomery, the matriarch. She was a gifted seer, a woman of great intuition, Agnes explained, her voice thick with nostalgia. They say she kept her most important insights and prophecies inside. "Do you think there's a key?" Clara asked, her curiosity piqued. Agnes shook her head, frowning slightly. "No one has seen it for years. It was said that Eleanor would only reveal what needed to be known in time." The mystery consumed Clara. That night, she could hardly sleep, visions of the locked box dancing through her mind. What knowledge could be trapped inside? What warnings or truths had been deemed too dangerous or powerful to share? As dawn broke, Clara found herself drawn back to the nursery. It had become a sanctuary for her, a space imbued with the love and laughter that had filled it once before. The locket lay on the mantel, still glowing faintly in the sunlight. She approached it, fingers brushing over the surface, feeling the warmth of the memories within. "Eleanor," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. "If you can hear me, I seek your wisdom. Show me what I need to know." Suddenly, the air thickened, and Clara felt a familiar chill enveloping her. The whispers returned, soft and melodic, swirling around her like a gentle breeze. "Find the truth," a voice urged, echoing through her mind. "It is hidden, waiting to be revealed." Clara's heart raced. She knew she had to uncover the secrets of the box. If Eleanor had left guidance, it could be vital for the manor, and perhaps for the town. She grabbed her notebook and began to jot down the names and places that Agnes had mentioned, hoping to uncover clues about Eleanor's past. Days turned into weeks as Clara meticulously researched Eleanor's life, interviewing older residents who remembered her well. She discovered that Eleanor had been revered for her insights but also feared for her unorthodox practices. Rumors swirled about her ability to communicate with spirits, to foresee events, and even to heal the ailing. One evening, as Clara was leaving the historical society, an elderly man approached her. His face was lined with age, and his eyes glimmered with knowledge. "You're the one restoring Alderwood, aren't you?" he asked. "Yes," Clara replied, intrigued. "I'm trying to uncover the history of the Montgomery family, especially Eleanor." The man hesitated, glancing around as if ensuring they were alone. Eleanor had a gift, but she also bore a curse. Not all her visions were kind. Some were warnings of darkness approaching the family. If you seek her truth, be careful. Not everything should be unearthed. Clara's pulse quickened. "What do you mean? What darkness?" He shook his head. "I cannot say more. The box you found, it holds more than just memories. Some truths can bind the living as much as the dead. Seek wisely." With that cryptic warning, he turned and vanished into the night, leaving Clara shaken yet more determined than ever. She returned to the manor, her mind racing with possibilities. What if Eleanor's visions had foretold more than just personal trials? What if there were greater forces at play, forces that could threaten the very fabric of the community? That night, Clara sat in the nursery, surrounded by the warmth of the candles flickering in the dark. She felt Margaret's presence near her, a comforting reminder that love could conquer darkness. "I need your guidance, Margaret," Clara murmured. "Can you help me find the key to Eleanor's box?" The room grew cold, and Clara felt a gentle tug at her sleeve, as if the spirit were urging her toward something. Following her intuition, she made her way to the willow tree outside. As she reached the base, she noticed something glinting among the roots. With trembling hands, Clara dug into the earth and unearthed a small, ornate key, tarnished but beautiful. Holding it aloft, she felt a surge of energy coursing through her, as if the very essence of Alderwood Manor was acknowledging her discovery. "Thank you, Margaret," she whispered, her heart filled with gratitude. She raced back inside, her heart pounding with anticipation. This was the moment. Clara hurried to the locked box, her fingers trembling as she inserted the key. The lock clicked open, and the lid creaked as she lifted it, revealing an array of delicate papers and trinkets, each radiating an aura of mystery. Among the items, Clara found an intricately folded letter, its ink faded yet legible. As she unfolded it, the words danced before her eyes. Asterisk to those who seek the truth of Alderwood. Beware the shadows that dwell within. For not all who linger wish to be freed. Guard your hearts, for love and loss are woven together, and the past has a way of returning when least expected. Asterisk. Clara's breath caught in her throat. The warning echoed the words of the old man. It felt like a doorway had been opened, revealing not just the history of the Montgomery family, but the complexities of their intertwined fates. Threads of joy and sorrow, love and betrayal. As she read on, she felt an icy grip tighten around her heart. The letter detailed a prophecy about a great upheaval that would return to Alderwood, a darkness that had once threatened the family and could do so again. The very essence of the manor seemed to respond, the shadows flickering ominously at the edges of her vision. "Margaret," Clara whispered, her voice barely audible. "What do I do?" The answer came as a faint breeze, the feeling of small hands clasping hers. Clara knew she had to act quickly. She had to uncover the truth behind Eleanor's warnings before it was too late. But time was fleeting, and the shadows that had once receded now seemed to be gathering, preparing to rise once more. With renewed determination, Clara resolved to uncover the source of this darkness and protect Alderwood Manor and its legacy at all costs. The night was far from over, and the secrets of the past were just beginning to unfurl, promising a journey that would test her courage and resolve like never before. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story. Clara felt the weight of Eleanor's prophecy pressing on her as she gathered the townsfolk for an urgent meeting. She shared the contents of the letter, the warning of an impending darkness. The community, now united in spirit and purpose, pledged to uncover the truth behind the shadows that threatened their beloved manor. As they dug deeper into the history of the Montgomery family, Clara discovered that Eleanor's visions had been connected to a series of tragic events tied to a hidden family feud, one that had sparked jealousy and betrayal, leaving lingering resentments that manifested as dark spirits. With the help of Agnes and other residents, Clara organized a ritual at the manor, inviting the spirits of the Montgomerys to join them. They lit candles and created a circle of remembrance, calling forth the positive energies to banish the darkness. As they recited Eleanor's words, Clara felt the air crackle with tension. Suddenly, shadows began to swirl, but the community stood firm, their love and shared memories pushing back against the encroaching darkness. Clara felt Margaret beside her, her spirit guiding them as they chanted for peace. The shadows writhed, but one by one, the spirits of the Montgomerys emerged, glowing brighter as they joined the chorus. With a final surge of collective energy, the darkness was vanquished, dissipating into the ether with a piercing shriek. Clara felt an overwhelming wave of relief wash over her, as the once ominous shadows faded away, leaving only warmth and light in their place. The following weeks transformed Alderwood Manor into a center of healing and community. The stories of the Montgomery family became woven into the town's fabric, ensuring that their legacies would never be forgotten. Clara continued her work, not just as a restorer of the manor, but as a guardian of its history and the love that had conquered its shadows. In time, Clara found peace in her connection to the spirits, knowing that they would always be part of Alderwood, watching over it as it thrived. The manor stood proudly against the backdrop of the town, a testament to resilience, love, and the enduring power of memory. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story.